Every single morning from the very second you open your eyes, you pay a tax. You don't pay it in cash, you don't swipe a credit card, and you don't see a bill at the end of the month. You pay it with something far more dangerous, far more limited, and infinitely more valuable: your personal life, your attention, and your privacy. We all know the official story. Google search is free, YouTube is completely free, Gmail costs nothing. Google Maps guides you around the world for $0, and the Android operating system powering billions of smartphones doesn't charge you a single dime to use it. On paper, Google looks like the world's biggest charity. Yet, if you look at their parent company, Alphabet, it is sitting on a staggering market capitalization of over $2 trillion. How is this even logically possible? How can a company give away some of the most advanced software, infrastructure, and tools on Earth to 8 billion people for absolute free, and still manage to become one of the wealthiest empires in human history? The answer is a brilliant, terrifying illusion. There is a brutal, unwritten law on the internet that you must memorize. If you aren't paying for the product, you are not the customer. You are the product being sold tonight. We are going to tear down the walls of Google's trillion-dollar empire. We will expose the psychological traps they use to harvest your brainwave data, the secret strategy they use to quietly conquer your entire daily routine, and why a terrifying new enemy has just triggered a red alert inside their headquarters that could destroy Google forever. So before we dive into the deep secrets of this machine, please take a moment to like the video if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel and share it with your friends. This small effort from your side gives us the courage to create more powerful content for you. Chapter 1. The trap of human intent to truly understand how Google prints billions of dollars every single hour. You first have to understand why traditional advertising is completely dead, and why Google's business model is pure psychological genius. Think about how advertising used to work for the last 100 years. A company would pay millions of dollars to put up a billboard on a busy highway or buy a 30-second commercial slot during a major football match on television. Facebook and Instagram do the exact same thing today. They track your scrolls and then they interrupt you. They flash an ad for makeup insurance or a new car right in front of your face while you are trying to look at your friends' photos. It is intrusive. It is annoying. And worst of all for the business, it is guesswork. They are just throwing darts in the dark, hoping you might randomly want what they are selling. But Google realized something 25 years ago that changed human psychology forever. Google doesn't guess. Google doesn't interrupt you. Google simply waits for your intent. Think about what happens when you open that clean, white, empty search bar. You are alone with your thoughts, and you type in exactly what is on your mind. You type things like, best budget laptop under $1,000, cheap flights to Dubai next weekend, best protein powder for muscle growth, or dermatologist near me. Do you realize what you just did? You didn't just search for a keyword. You openly confessed your deepest immediate consumer desires. You told a machine exactly what you want to buy, exactly when you want to buy it, and exactly how much you are willing to spend. Google didn't have to brainwash you or convince you to want a laptop. You walked through their digital door and handed them that information on a silver platter. This changed the advertising game forever. Google built a platform called Google Ads. They realized they don't need to sell you products. Instead, they rent out access to your immediate desires. If a local laptop store wants customers, they pay Google to put their link at the very top of the page when you search for that laptop. Because that click doesn't just mean a view, it means a highly motivated buyer who is standing with their wallet open. Google sits directly in the middle of this transaction, acting as the ultimate digital gatekeeper, matching human desire with corporate supply, and pocketing hundreds of billions of dollars just for making the introduction. Chapter 2. The silent takeover, however, relying entirely on a single search bar, was a massive, terrifying risk. The founders, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, knew that the internet evolves rapidly. What if a competitor built a better search engine? What if people simply stopped searching for things on websites? If the search bar died, Google's entire printing machine would collapse overnight. To prevent this, Google didn't just try to stay ahead of the competition. They executed a silent, systematic takeover of your entire 24-hour daily routine. They realized that the more time you spend inside their digital ecosystem, the more data they can collect, and the more ads they can display. Let's look at the year 2006. A small, chaotic, and completely unprofitable video sharing website called YouTube was burning through cash. Millions of people were uploading low-quality clips, and the website was facing massive lawsuits from media companies. It looked like a financial disaster. Yet Google stepped in and bought YouTube for $1.65 billion. At the time, Wall Street analysts and tech gurus openly called Google insane. They thought Google was throwing money into a burning fire pit. Today, that single move is considered arguably the greatest acquisition in tech history. YouTube didn't just grow, it completely demolished cable television globally. It became the default video platform for humanity, generating tens of billions of dollars in advertising revenue every single year, while simultaneously giving Google a front-row seat to your entertainment habits. But they didn't stop at video. Step back and look at your life from a bird's-eye view. You wake up in the morning and check your emails on Gmail. You step into your car, turn on your dashboard, and use Google Maps to navigate through traffic to your office. You open your computer and browse the internet using Google Chrome, the most dominant web browser on Earth, and what operates the actual smartphone inside your pocket, Android, an operating system that Google cleverly made open source, so that almost every major phone manufacturer in the world, from Samsung to Xiaomi, had to install it by default. Do you see the master plan now? They didn't just build software. They quietly constructed an inescapable digital cage around modern society. Whether you are working, traveling, relaxing, watching a video, or just checking your phone, you are constantly feeding data into the Google machine. You can never truly log off because Google is the infrastructure of the internet itself. Chapter 3: The Secret Graveyard. When you look at this multi-trillion-dollar empire from the outside, it looks completely flawless, untouchable, and perfectly calculated. But if you dig beneath the corporate headquarters in California, you will find a massive, hidden graveyard. Most people only look at Google's massive winners, but the reality is that Google has aggressively built, launched, and brutally killed over 200 products and services. Remember Google+? It was a multi-million-dollar social network launched with the sole purpose of completely destroying Facebook. Google forced every single YouTube user to create a Google+ account just to comment on videos. They used all their corporate might to make it succeed, but the public hated it. It became a digital ghost town, and Google had to quietly shut it down. Or think about Google Glass. Those futuristic, sci-fi smart glasses introduced over a decade ago. It was supposed to replace your smartphone and change how humans interact with reality. Instead, it faced massive privacy backlashes, looked incredibly awkward, and was pulled from the consumer market as a massive embarrassment. And the list goes on endlessly. Remember Google Stadia, a massive billion-dollar cloud gaming platform that promised to eliminate the need for Xbox and PlayStation. Google signed huge deals with game developers, built massive data centers, and launched it with massive hype. Just a few years later, they completely pulled the plug, leaving gamers stranded and shutting down the entire project. They tried Project Loon, sending giant helium-filled balloons into the stratosphere to beam internet to remote villages. Dead. They tried Google Wave, Google Reader, Google Hangouts, all dead. Why am I telling you about this massive graveyard? Because this is the ultimate lesson in entrepreneurship and business. Most people and companies fear failure so much that they become paralyzed. They stop experimenting, they stop innovating, and they play it safe until they become completely irrelevant. But Google's secret to trillion-dollar dominance is that they treat failure as a necessary business expense. They are willing to fail faster, harder, and more expensively than any other company on earth. They understand a fundamental truth of the modern world. You can fail 100 times and lose millions of dollars on failed experiments. But all it takes is one single massive jackpot, like Android or YouTube, to pay for 100 graves and secure your empire for the next generation. Chapter 4. The death of search for more than 2 decades. This incredible business model was completely bulletproof. Google was a monopoly, a verb, a natural part of human behavior. If you wanted to know something, you didn't think twice. You just Googled it. But right now, as you watch this video, a literal code red emergency has been triggered inside Google's executive boardrooms. The unbreakable empire is showing massive cracks, and for the very first time in 25 years, Google is facing an existential threat that could completely wipe out its core business. That threat is the rapid exponential rise of generative artificial intelligence. Think about your own habits. For years, when you asked Google a question, it didn't actually answer you. It gave you a page full of links. And over the last few years, Google has packed the top of those pages with more and more ads. If you search for a financial tip or a product, you have to scroll past 3 or 4 sponsored links, dodge pop-up banners, and click on a chaotic website just to find one simple piece of information. The user experience has been slowly declining because Google is desperate to show you more ads. But now, look at modern AI chatbots like ChatGPT or Claude. When you ask an advanced AI a complex question, what happens? It doesn't give you 10 spammy links covered in advertisements. It gives you a direct, perfectly structured, clean answer instantly, formatted into neat paragraphs, bullet points, or code. No scrolling, no clicking, no corporate manipulation, and most importantly, absolutely zero advertisements. This is a structural nightmare for Google. If the global population shifts its habit from searching on a traditional search engine to directly talking to an intelligent AI assistant, people will completely stop clicking on Google's search links. And if people stop clicking those links, Google's multi-billion-dollar advertising network instantly becomes useless. The advertisers will pull their budgets, the revenue will dry up, and the $2 trillion machine will run out of fuel. This is exactly why Google is frantically rushing. They aren't launching tools like Gemini just because AI is a cool tech trend or a fun toy for developers. They are doing it because they are in a brutal, no-holds-barred war for survival. They are trying to reinvent their entire business before their competitors completely replace them. Ending the next 5 years will decide the fate of the internet. Technology will inevitably evolve, platforms will completely shift, and the classic search engine bar that we grew up with might completely vanish into history. But the fundamental rule of the digital world will never change. Whoever controls the gateway to how human beings discover information controls the ultimate power on Earth. Will Google manage to pivot and survive this AI revolution, or are we witnessing the slow, dramatic fall of the greatest digital empire in human history? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, share this video with a friend, and I will see you in the very next deep dive.